Well, I had Bob Stump and then Donnie Huck,
Yeah.
50th anniversary.
Because he
I think it goes in,
Yeah.
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 I met Donnie
Those are
when he
ones,
was
but I was just in and out.
Yeah.
Didn't it look like
Yeah,
they were
whenever-
setting
yeah.
up?
For Bob.
Made me think about,
So,
our
I think we're
parents,
live,
because they were
Jeremy.
setting
Live,
up
okay.
Let's see.
Tommy.
Think we're
I
live.
just saw that there was some
Who we missing?
phone
We're missing
presentation coming that
Caitlin.
evening in Spanish.
And-
I'm like, I can't read that. Oh, wait.
Oh, Carol.
And then
Well,
Erica came in setting up the
Different shows I
call.
went to.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think we're
I
live,
wonder if she
guys.
agreed to translate.
Yeah, I didn't want to get y'all.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I guess this will be our last BPAP meeting for 2023.
Yeah.
I think we're missing a couple folks tonight. A few folks had to roll off due to attendance issues, but I'll go ahead and start with a roll call. AJ?
Yep.
Keith?
Yep.
Carol? Adina?
Here.
Lori?
Here.
Kaylin? And Terry.
Yeah.
We got a few visitors tonight too
Yeah.
from the city.
Yeah. So, kind of to kick things off, well, I'll let you got it. Do you want to
No,
address anything? or-
no, I don't want.
Yeah.
I'm good right now.
So I've invited Felicia just to attend the meeting. We've been having some meetings and obviously talking about the board and different things and how we go. How we can, keep the board but make it more productive. And so I've invited Felicia to help us out because I think everybody here is here because we want to make Conway a better place to live and recreate. And so I think, just to make sure that we're productive and we all feel like this is a good use of our time, I just wanted to have a little bit more structure going forward in 2024. So I sent that email, and obviously, AJ, I appreciate your concerns that you shared, but we just wanted to kind of address those things so that we have a good level set going forward in 2024 and everyone's energized and ready to go on the board. So, Felicia, do you have anything you'd like to add? Or
I do. I just want to say Terry has been working really, really hard to try to come up with some ways to get BPAP back energized. I think that's one of the things that we would like to do is to, now that we have a designated staff person that's not out of planning, it's actually a designated bike and pedestrian coordinator, we would like to use that position to kind of help this board kind of look at some things, what you can do, what you want to do, kind of like get you guys back involved, kind of like it used to be. So I think that, having Terry kind of lead that will be helpful because we have so many new people on the board. But I think that it would be just great to kind of get BPAP back where, you guys used to be, but get you more involved. I think one of the things, we had a lot of interest in boards and commissions this time around, which we were really excited about. But when people ask me what BPAP does, they don't have a walking story, and it's not like it's a new board, like we have Diversity Advisory Council and it's kind of new, but kind of want to give you guys like this walking story of here's what they do, here's what they're charged with doing, here's some of the things they've done, here's some of the projects they've worked on, kind of try to get you guys back involved, back with the city departments. I've talked with Kurt and Parks. Of course, we have Connect Conway coming up. Whenever we can get a contract signed with the federal government, we're going to hopefully start on that. But just kind of like on the front end of some of those things, kind of getting BPAP back involved so that this board can be, a board that, again, has that walking story, have people wanting to be involved, ask what's going on with this board. So I think that that's a great way to kind of get the board back going. And AJ, I do understand some of your concerns, but I will say that Terry being on this board or charge of this board, whether there's a chair or vice chair or whatever, I think that there's not a conflict of interest because I think we're all on the same team. The board is a city board. And so we're all on the same team. We all want to see this board be successful. There's so many things that BPAP can be involved in and do. And so I think, again, this board can work however the board decides it wants it to work. We are pretty open to that. We just want to see this board get back involved. Again, Terry had some great ideas. I mean, there's grant opportunities out there. We were looking at grants today that had some bicycle and pedestrian components to them. So that would be great, like even when we submit our grant, to kind of say, hey, there's this component over here. On the front end, let's give this to BPAP. We know when the due date is. Let's give them a month to look this over and kind of have their like thoughts and, you know, comments on those projects. So I think it would be great if we could look at the board overall, look at, again, the time has been set. That time can change. If that time doesn't work for the majority of the people who are on this board, you guys can say, hey, can we change that? I mean, that's up to you guys to kind of make it to where it kind of fits everyone that's on the board. Because again, it's a voluntary board. We are very, very mindful of the time commitment. So we appreciate that, and we don't want it to be like a, you know, again, we have these rules where you can only have so many absences. So the way to do that is to kind of, every board doesn't have to look the same. Again, this board may be a little different and it may need to meet every other month. I think that's what the board can come in and decide. I think once you start getting activities and projects going, then you'll see that you'll meet every month because you'll have things to do. You'll have an agenda. You know, we need to check off on this. We're submitting a Safe Process School grant. We need to look at this. So where can we, you know, what other grant can we work on? What projects are the city working on? You know, have Kurt come in and talk about those. Have Andrew come in and talk about those. So kind of just getting you guys going with some of that. I think Terry has, I think he's on the right track for getting the board back where they were.
And I want to piggyback off Felicia, come from the consultant background, having that extra component on these TAP application, grant application opportunities definitely puts you in a better position funding wise to get projects funded. So I echo that sentiment. I mean, it really does help. Even so much so if you get a project built and in construction goes and get awarded, you know, go get built and then go apply for awards. You have some kind of liaison to add that component to that application for awards. So I mean, I hate to toot my own horn. I got a few awards under my belt, but I mean, it does help having that community say so on a lot of things. So it's very, very, very intriguing, and I support that.
Okay. And my goal isn't to take over and be the chair. If you guys want a chair or whatever, I just want to take a more active role than I have in the past in trying to guide the board in the direction. And there'll still be projects to review. Just lately, there's not been any projects. Everything's been set for 2023 and is either already in construction or is still in planning and no plans to see. So, anybody have any questions?
I was just going to say, you know, the story, I'm sitting next to a storyteller here, people who teaches people how to write stories. But I mean, I haven't been on BPAP for the longest, but it seems to me like the history of BPAP has been to give a voice to the city from the community of what, you know, the thoughts on improvement. And it is an advisory board. It is not a governing board. And so I don't even know why we have to have officers. I mean, that I may be really overstepping that, but I mean, if you're going to lead it, you know, I mean, and we can tell you if it's not enough information or we need more information, but because there wasn't a you before, there wasn't this position, I think there was fear that perhaps the city wasn't taking into consideration the needs of these different populations, the pedestrians and the cyclists. And anyway, I like the direction that it's going in, because it was starting to kind of mirror down a little and adversarial. And, you know, we all got enough other junk in our lives. We don't need any more negative. I want to help. I want to help the community move forward.
And I think that's another thing too, like even like with the Diversity Advisory Board, we do like some community engagement. You know, you guys can do that. I think one of the meetings that Terry gave, I really like that because again, it opens it up to where you can hear that community voice as well. So I think that's a really good avenue, like once a year kind of do that. Surveys are good, but when you can get the community to come in and give you their feedback, it's always a little different. So I think that's really good. Then I will say that you will work on, so boards and commissions will work on their bylaws in January. So we have what we call now Article 2's bylaws, and you guys will get to work on those and look at those and see what fits your board. So that'll be one of the first things that you'll have on your agenda.
I got a couple of comments. One I think is ironic because I've been on the board for coming up on a year, and I had sent Jeremy a note saying, it's not bad, but we've come in here, we look at each other, Terry talks and gives status, and I was always wondering, where does all these projects line up and there's no new ones? So I started looking at the city plans, the bicycle plan, the pedestrian plan. I live over by Hendricks College, and I've been working with Dr. Peterson, especially after the incident at UCA and the crosswalk. She's very interested in fixing that. So you have Hendricks. I was looking at Markham Street coming in and being finished, and that's on the plan. That's almost done. And then if you look at in 2017, it was supposed to be a bike route from there to Hendricks Village then through the preserve and going to Walmart to do that vision of neighborhoods, shopping areas, the 3 colleges, et cetera. So I'm looking and going, well, there's already plans there.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, for 2024, what do you think about, let's just make this a plan and we'll keep working with Hendricks. Because they were planning,
I know Hendricks is working on some plans. Just did come and sit down and talk with us about some more ideas that she had as well. So I know she's working on a lot of things for Hendricks. So yeah, and we talked about that too. I talked about the bicycle plan, and I was like, I'm not for sure if anybody's looked at it, if it needs to be updated. Because
it does.
I'm like, I'm sure it needs to be updated. So again, I think, the Public Art Board just did a big master plan. And that's one of the things that they'll do in January is they will have a work meeting, and we'll go through and try to pick at least one thing out of there to kind of bring to fruition in 2024. So.
The second thing was, I'm always listed as the bicycle rep, which is fine. I mean, I bicycle and walk. But I'm looking at our bylaws that establish the BPAP, and it says there's 2 people that are bike reps and 2 people that are pedestrian people. And we really don't have that assigned that I could see. And it's not a huge deal because I think we do both of them. And I was like, well, take it out of the bylaws for us or assign somebody.
And that's
let's tighten up a little bit.
And that's what you can do in your bylaws is kind of, I think so some of the designations was kind of like when we were trying to get board members, they were like, do I have to be with the school district? And I was like, I mean, you could basically be a rep for the school if you want to do that. And it was like, I don't work with the school district. I was like, I don't think you have to work for the school district. So it's kind of like hindering people from applying. And so we want them to know that, I mean, if you walk, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
You could do either.
Well, that gets to being fluid. So you got to be able to move around. You put too many rules, then you're not effective.
That's 100% correct. Yeah.
So, well, I appreciate you coming in, helping clarify that. So.
Any questions for me? You guys will probably see me again, because I would like for in 2024, we'll have some new members, and then we'll have some department heads come and talk about some of the upcoming projects. And then kind of want to get your thoughts on, like, again, the Hendricks, how can we get that going? Where can we fit that in at, even if it's just a section, because we're working on Markham, would we apply for a grant through Metro Plan to finish that up? So those are good ideas to just, again, throw on the wall so that we have those planted in, and then Kirk can always be like, oh yeah, we could do that. If it costs this much, we could do an 80-20 grant. So we could do the TAP. So.
Alicia, I know one problem that has gotten in people's way of attending is not being able to do it remotely, because if there was a vote, their vote didn't count. But, if there's some method to capture people's ideas, making sure that gets passed along, is there a need to vote? And could there be, remote attendance at that point?
So we don't do remote attendance unless there's a state of emergency. Charles Finkenbinder, our city attorney, you have to be present at a meeting. So I will have him write me up something to kind of like flip up. We have a lot of boards ask that. And so I think the way that we kind of looked at that was, again, some boards meet every month, but they don't have something to discuss every month. And so I think that if you came up with a schedule that was fitting for your board, I think that would help also. Because you can miss 4 within a rolling year. So I think that would help. But again, if you're watching from home and you want to participate, I think we could do that, but I don't know if you can vote. Again, it may not be a vote, it may just be
a vote.
participating. Yes, it may just be
It could
participating.
be, yeah.
And that we
'cause
can certainly do.
One of the things I want to do is have the agenda, so structure this to where the agenda is, and that can still be a living document, and as projects pop up, we can still add it to that, but basically have the calendar done where we know what we're working on each meeting. So, and we'll know if we have a vote, and then if there's no vote, we could maybe potentially create that virtual attendance if that's going to help, if there's nothing to vote on.
Would that help minimize, I guess, the attendance issues too, I guess?
I think it would help.
Mhm.
Well, I guess the time, I guess.
Yeah.
So many of us work remotely, right? And so it's almost like the opposite of progressive.
Oh,
Gotta change
we know, we would love to.
So I know we take December off, and then
June, July.
yeah, but have we done that in the past, or was it just 1 month?
Oh, it was just 1 month.
It's just 1 month.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always vote.
Yeah.
The board can always vote to cancel the next month's meeting, so.
Yeah. So, I would propose to help because of vacations that June and July are really difficult. So I propose that you take June and July and December off, and then that leaves 9 meetings that are hopefully super productive. That
Yeah, you already know that in advance, so then when you work your agenda out, kind of
Yeah.
work your agenda out with that in mind, so.
It depends on like, when is this, the third? We meet the third Thursday?
it's always the 3rd Thursday.
Okay, well, that's usually on spring break in March. That's another month we may want to think about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
So,
Yeah.
Have issues with the March one.
yeah,
Yeah, that's something we could vote on that
okay.
leading up to it and do with that or reschedule it or whatever.
So what was the problem with virtual attendance, other than we can't vote? Is there some sort of written
There is,
rule?
there was a, so we were all virtual during COVID, and it worked well for boards and commissions. It worked well. And then once we got back, we could do virtual because we were under a state of emergency. But other than that, boards and commissions have to meet in person, and it has to be recorded. And so then we start asking about, well, if I did such wanted to meet virtual, and it kind of like was like, no, everyone needs to be in person, but I don't mind asking Charles again. And also just kind of fluidly working that out with the mayor, like what is, something that we can all kind of maybe compromise with, like if we're, having discussions and there's not a vote, I would still have to ask Charles to make sure that it's all.
Yeah, it would add some flexibility for sure.
Yes, it definitely would.
Travel and whatnot.
Yeah, because I know like West Pruitt missed 4 because of work travel and stuff, but otherwise was a good member to have. So
I know for me, like I'm gonna miss the May meeting for work. I can already tell you that.
yeah.
So if we do June and July off, that's 3 months I'd be out.
Well, and the one thing that I learned also is like if we're not going to have a quorum, we can cancel the meeting, and then it kind of absolves the attendance issue. Because if we meet anyhow, even though we don't have a quorum and you're not here,
It counts.
it counts. So we can help with that. So anyhow,
What is your name?
Me? Caitlin,
Okay,
Camp.
okay.
Yeah.
I just want to mark you on my list.
yeah.
Lauren.
So just since Felicia was here, I just thought I'd address the elephant in the room and get that.
No, we want to help. I mean, we
Yeah.
want to, again, it's boards and commissions are all getting designated staff people. And just kind of, again, most boards, they can rock and roll. And so BPAP was the only one. Again, if someone asked me for that story, it'd be a little hard. But after we talked, I thought like Terry had 6, 7 ideas right off the bat. So there is something for BPAP to do. Again, we looked at the bike master plan right off the back and was like, hey, this is the last time someone looked at this. Maybe it needs to be updated. So maybe that's, one of the first things, since that's one of, a big part of this board, is to get that updated.
COVID didn't help it.
COVID.
You think about when those are,
Yeah.
Yeah.
almost all those plans,
Yeah.
and then you have this COVID thing, and really made it a lot tougher on everything.
Sure.
So, good, thank you.
Thank you. No,
Thank you.
Good seeing y'all.
Appreciate y'all.
Bye.
Thank you.
I know they were on a time
Sure.
schedule, so I just wanted to get to
appreciate
let them talk, and then I'll let you get back on schedule.
Okay. So I guess we need to find quorum. I think we got enough for quorum today. I guess, did we even want to have any issues with the August or September minutes? I know some were in and out. The motion on the floor, approve the minutes from September and August.
I can make a motion to approve the August and September minutes.
A second.
Got a first and a second. All opposed, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approval of August and September minutes is followed. Some old business, I think from the last meeting, I kind of discussed the attendance policy that's in place, which it can be maybe a working document, I guess, in the upcoming year. Let's just keep that in mind. Here in the last few months, I've been trying to send the calendar invite out early that way I know if we have quorum to either cancel a meeting or not. So I think maybe moving forward, Terry will probably keep the same rhythm going, just so no one's kind of absent if necessary. So I think that's a good rhyme or method or hopeful, motivation that people at least know a plan ahead of time to have some momentum going forward.
I have a question. I know it's in the bylaws, but I can't remember. It's per calendar year or through like
And see, I'm
past 12 months?
That's what I
Yeah.
think it's past 12 months.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got it right here. 12 months.
It's a rolling 12-month.
Rolling 12.
Okay, so yeah, I guess we only have one, because that one we canceled.
Yeah.
But they're both like, their virtual wouldn't help those, they're like events. and that stuff,
Right,
so.
right. Totally get it. I came in on BPAP in kind of the period of COVID and transition, so yeah, I totally get it. And it was nice, because Thursday evening, pull your laptop, everybody's where they at.
Mhm.
You just there. Some new business. I think we get some nominations on the BPAP board. I think talking with Felicia, there are maybe
Yeah,
a few.
there's two that the city's looking at, so.
We get a copy of the applications.
I'll ask Felicia.
So now I'm rolling off in December. AJ, are you too?
Yeah, I didn't submit another application.
So we're still trying to strive for 11, right, on the board,
Well,
not reduce
that
that
may,
to 7,
well,
or some members.
Well, all the other city boards are 7, so one of the conversations I had is just trying to be consistent with the other city boards,
Mhm.
and so I would propose dropping it to 7.
I agree. I think that would help
Yeah.
with the quorum stuff, for
Yeah.
example. Less cats to have to wrangle.
So, and that's not anything we have to meet on. I just have to go in front of city council in December. I can do that and request that if you guys are all in agreement, so.
So this is back in 2012 was when it was signed off by Mayor Townsend. Was there anybody have background on why we went from 7 to 11?
Yeah, we added representation. So it went from the
was it
bike advisory board to the bike and pedestrian
Pedestrian.
advisory board. So it added the 2 pedestrian representatives, and
Makes sense. Okay.
there's a couple others. I think the Safe Routes to School got added at the same time.
Yeah. Expanded the scope of the board.
So, sorry, Keith, are you?
Yeah, that's fine.
My question is, it seems like we forget fairly often that these are actual representative positions. So what is the proposal for the positions that will be eliminated?
I mean, I think we can just restructure who is representing. I don't know, it's,
Right, but we're gonna have to eliminate specific representation for those areas. So like, instead of having, we gotta get rid of some positions, and they're going to be representatives of, pedestrian representatives.
well, there's some folks that are duplicate. So I don't know that it's a problem. So you have safe routes to school, bicycle, walk. You could have 2 bicycle representatives and 2 pedestrian representatives and 1 safe routes to school.
You know, if I can throw in, I mean, it seems like the representatives would be there so that they could ask those around them, right, in their groups about their thoughts about things and then report back, or inform them about things that are going on. So I wonder if some of that could be accomplished with a more thorough, a better communication plan. If it's just
Or contact with some person or with some group, is what you.
yes, or if it's so maybe like meeting agendas and minutes and stuff going out to certain people, and or even just like a monthly video of, hey, here's the update on what's going on in the bicycle and pedestrian world in Conway. You got any thoughts on something that we're going to be talking about in not July, but in August? Then there's a link to it on the website, and submit a contact form. A comment form, something like that.
My concern is that, I think there's good reason to have 2 representatives of each of those areas. So, it just broadens the perspective. If you've got questions on, pedestrian issues, maybe you got some weird, crazy board member, I don't know, and you say, hey, what's your perspective on this? And, let's make a flying sidewalk that crosses Donaghy to avoid students getting hit by cars. You've got another member there to kind of, maybe we could modify that plan or change it.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have diversity, and that's obviously an extreme example, but my concern is that eliminating those positions for the sake of, I don't think we should be eliminating board positions for the sake of trying to achieve a quorum.
Well, so the board positions, we're all working together, right? The way I see it. So if we're talking about a pedestrian issue, we're all talking about a pedestrian issue or a cycling issue. So I think it's like a title on paper. I don't know that we need to be that rigid as far as the structure or the structure of it.
Yeah, I mean, I would disagree, but we can, that's.
Well, I do think to be effective, we're going to have a pretty regular quorum. So whenever we have, like to your point, members that are absent regularly, that puts that quorum at risk. Are we going to then instead maybe be a little more strict on the attendance policy and removing people and replacing them with people that will show up regularly so that we can, if we can have 11 people.
Yeah, the city's removed, board members, just recently due to attendance. So
I think
that's
that
one of the
should.
reasons it's been a hot topic.
Yeah.
I think ideally you wouldn't have to worry about that, right? If everybody's working on interesting things and we all want to be here, right? If you joined the board, it's because you had plans and you wanted to make a difference. And I think we should try to maintain quorum by providing things for people to show up for, as opposed to just saying, well.
I think that's ultimately the objective, moving forward, just trying to have that plan in place, just so you have an action item to work on. I mean, I'm a creature. If I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not going to do it. So I think if we have that plan in place, implement a plan in place, at least you have you know, you have accountability for people at that point, you know. They're expected to follow through with this task or whatever that may be. And they're expected to have reports by this monthly meeting or whatever the case may be. I think until you get that rhythm going, you know, I feel like that's the motivation that we should strive for moving forward.
And I think further to that point, you know, if we're addressing specific items, so Vision Zero, if we say, hey, we had an incident at UCA this week with pedestrians, you know, my immediate thought is let's have people with specific pedestrian interests or pedestrian members of the board take a look at it and see what kind of suggestions are seeing in the community, what kind of ideas they come up with. I think it helps to have the differentiation so that you can have, you know, assign people who, hey, let's make a committee to look at this specifically. So again, I mean, you can make I'm trying to remember if the committee minimum is, I think it's 3.
I thought I saw 7.
This is a committee of our board.
Within the board, you
Oh,
know,
a committee of the board.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been on a committee.
So, you know, I think it would help to have 2, and then you can always poll, you know, a city representative or community representative if, you know, if we wanted to look at bike-friendly businesses, you know, who does it make sense to have, you know, bike representative, cab representative, and somebody from transportation or something. Like you can, and we can assign committee members who are outside of the board, but I guess that's my kind of thought to piggyback off Jeremy's idea there.
So is it premature to go ahead and say we're going to cut it to so many people? I understand that the driver is because we've got the applications and we've probably told them that a decision will be made on those applications by a certain date. But I mean, Felicia just said that we would be working through the bylaws in January. And it would seem like it would ideally come at that point when we talk through what should the size of the organization be, taking in consideration these comments.
Let the discussion determine the need of numbers.
So the city decides the size of the board. So that's in our formation document. So, I mean, I would hope they would want the input of the board, but it's not necessary to change the size of the board, from my understanding, anyway. I don't know if you...
It's not, yeah. I can move it to 7 if they desire.
So there's other boards that you look at. This one, that's, you know, the safe routes to school. That's a walk on a bike. The pedestrian issues are different than bike issues a lot of times. What other boards is there that has, you know, that kind of a oversight on kind of a 2 separate focus? So I don't know. I mean, there's multi-use path, which would be everybody's the same. Then there's going to be a walking area, sidewalk, for instance, that you can't ride your bike on or shouldn't. And so I don't know. It's a good discussion to figure it out, because the title, I think, really doesn't matter. Even though I'm a bicycle guy, I can talk either side of the fence.
Right. That's been my take on it. And the time that I've been involved in the board as a board member and now as the bike and pedestrian coordinator, it's not been an issue where somebody specifically had to answer for anything. And I don't know, the last 5 to 7 years that I've been involved in it. So I don't know that it's that big of a deal that we couldn't designate somebody that we all share. We all share the workload or the responsibility.
I mean, we are forgetting like a cab. There's 2 from a bicycle advocacy organization. So I don't think you got to have people who are specifically in the organization to.
Well, yeah, I mean.
How would the Safe Routes to School rep work? You know, I mean, that's what kind of title they gave me, and I'm not in the school district.
Yeah, I mean, again, ideally, you would have people who are, you know, helping to. Those specific board members are when we had Mariah, like she would always help organize that and show up on the news to do interviews whenever they came, and someone who had specific knowledge around that, you know, I think so.
Yeah, I think as a new member, I don't believe that was reflected on the application, like which one I was gonna be. And so I came in not knowing that was that difference.
They
So-
don't, yeah, they don't advertise it.
Yeah, so I think it's not like people, I don't know if we took it away, I guess my point is, we took it away, people probably wouldn't know this because no one knows that that's what we do. But if we kept it, I think we should put it in the application and weave it through how we talk about it.
Well, according to the website, everybody on here is a bicycle representative.
Oh.
Except for AJ, you're the bike advocacy organization rep and you're the safe schools rep, but all of the rest of us are bicycle reps.
Yeah, I think
So-
that they just kind of default to it when they put you on there and they don't have any other info on there.
Well, where are the pedestrian reps? Are they the new members to be added on, or how does that
David
work?
Barber was the last one I knew that we had. I'm trying to remember, there may have been someone else who was,
And he could have also been bicycle rep too, since he rode,
he could have,
yeah.
But he actually ran a Facebook group for pedestrian stuff in Conway. I don't know how active it was, but I mean, they are kind of separate issues. And yeah, I mean, I can look at sidewalk design and make suggestions, but I know I personally will seek out information as it relates to bike infrastructure and stuff. And I think it would be fantastic if, we had people with the specific, walkable city. I mean, it's a whole organization and it's a designation just like bike friendly city is. You've got walkable cities and
Walkability.
yeah.
There again, there might be an opportunity to do some kind of public survey when we need the input for like pedestrians.
I just wanted to add that you guys can talk about the board membership. Like if y'all want to talk about that in January, that's fine. I will say that this board had a lot of ex officios too. So it was like 7 members, but it had ex officios of all the city departments, parks, police,
right.
mayor's office. So that made up the board as well. But you can talk about the members,
Yeah.
the numbers in January when you do go through your bylaws. So you can do that
Yeah.
as well. So.
Okay. One of the things we're talking about right now is the designation of whether they're
Safe routes and
safe routes,
bicycle.
bike, or
And so
what.
that actually, the only year that it wasn't on the application was this year and last year. So normally it is on the press release. If you look at the press release, it'll say they're looking for 2 individuals, and one has to be like the school district rep. And that was kind of like limiting like people's, like we was like, you can be a school rep. They was like, I just want to be on BPAP. Like I just want to be on the board. And so I think that the board can decide when they get on here where they want to go if you guys need those designations. But I don't want to hinder someone who is like, we just started using the trail. We would love to be on the board just to kind of see, what you guys are going to do with pedestrians, because that's like the question I had specifically. And so, but they didn't want to be the school rep. But that was what was open.
Yeah.
So it's always on the press release that we do. This is the first year we've used a new thing, and we didn't put a designation on there. We're just saying you'll be part of the board, and then the board can decide if they want pedestrian reps or bicycle reps. Let you guys decide that, but let everyone come on as a member of BPAP, and then you guys can put them wherever.
Okay.
Is there a question on that application that says what's your experience in riding or walking the city? Then we can kind of look at the applications too and see.
Yep. And put them there.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Well, we're live.
Oh.
Yeah, we're live.
Big brother is
She's
watching.
always listening.
But my point, I was going to say, if we're trying to get community input, to be a true advisory board and get input from others, to make sure if they're not represented on the board, that maybe we can catch them. And I'm thinking like just whenever it's some big thing, not all the time, but like a SurveyMonkey link with some, 10 questions. It could be sent to the UCA students who have to cross that Donaghy every day and get extra credit in their class or something, I'm just saying as an example.
Okay.
I think it's a fair point to bring up that we need a good disbursement of representation.
Okay. Well, since we're all bike designated, does anybody want to change to pedestrian?
I hate to admit this to the world, but I do not own a bike, so I would
Yeah.
definitely just forget that. I will one day. I have my sights on that, but I definitely joined with pedestrian interests.
Yeah,
And, yes, so yes.
okay.
Well.
I've seen you
since we-
walking too.
Since we have bike, everybody's bike until now, then I don't mind being a pedestrian, because where I'm working with Hendricks College is at the Village Green, the crosswalks or lack of crosswalks are where the students are. And then we're also working the Hendricks Creek Preserve. If anybody's been there lately, crossing the bridge, and you walk on this side, then maybe go on this side, the crosswalk switches back and forth.
Oh.
And it's like, who planned this? And it's obviously, this was developed, then this was developed, and this was developed, and so it wasn't planned that way. It was just that over the years of development, and it didn't turn out very good. So we're trying to figure out what makes sense for just the walkers, because there's a lot of people. Because there's 460 hotel rooms. They're not driving down to the preserve often, they're walking from those hotel rooms to go there. So they have to cross the street all the time.
So it sounds like we
So I don't mind
can,
doing that.
sounds like we can get, whenever we get the new board members in January, that we get them,
Sure,
get them to share their interest and then go from there. So I totally understand, like what Felicia said, like how limiting it is when you start asking for somebody with direct expertise in these areas, and then you struggle to have board members. So they tried to open it up and be a little bit more inclusive for folks so that they can be a part of it. One of the things too was that, and I don't know that it's necessary, but if we're going to meet every month and then we skip June, July, December, potentially March, some of the boards will meet every month for an hour, and then other boards meet every other month, but they meet longer. So I'm just throwing that out there. I don't have it's your board. So
Some boards only meet as required.
yeah.
I kind of agree that March might be a challenge for some people. It's not for me, but
Well, anyone that has kids anyhow, yeah.
yeah.
I think something else to keep in mind would be the bike-friendly city designation requires a certain frequency of meetings. I don't.
Wasn't it every other month?
I think so. So yeah, I don't
At
think it
least
would be.
6, then.
I think it would run
That's a
into
good
it.
I
point.
think we're fine on that. So. Yeah, she left.
Is the date and time, is the time work for everyone?
No.
Is it fair assessment?
I'm sorry.
Don't hold back, you're among friends.
Well, I mean, in the summertime, it's ideal riding time.
Sure.
And in the wintertime, right now, it feels like it's 9 o'clock.
So it's never good.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't mean to be a whiner, but
I mean, that's why we're here. We can,
To whine?
we can, yeah.
Are most of these meetings after hours, like after 5?
It can be whenever you guys
Okay.
decide. Like if you guys decide it's noon on the first Monday or something, like, then that's when.
or even 4 or 5. But I think, was it you that was
Yeah,
driving?
I work in Little Rock. So.
Oh, yeah.
But either way, I mean, if I know, when I know I have something, I just make,
You can make the
I make the
arrangement.
arrangement. That's just no big deal to me.
Is there someone else maybe that had to?
We had a few others, but
That's probably something too, when we get the new board members that we
it may be better for
would
the
make.
people that work here and live here.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm rolling, so I'm
You're not gonna roll back?
Before we make any changes, get the
I'm
new,
building Conway
Thank you.
right now.
I hate to decide on something today and then we get 2 new board members and I'm like, oh, I can't do
I know, that's what I was thinking, if we
Yeah.
say we need this number, but
it. Yeah,
So when they applied though, they saw the website or
yeah.
they see when it's meeting, and you would hope that,
We may need to move it back a bit though if we end up doing longer meetings.
Yeah.
That we're not going like 6:30 to 8 or something
Yeah.
like that.
That's your-
A little late, maybe.
The bedtime.
Yeah.
I just threw that out there because it's that I wanted you guys to know the options that you have.
Well, there's no need to take today to make any of those decisions.
No,
Let's
I
not-
wouldn't make.
let's not
I
have
wouldn't-
some-
yeah, that's
I'm just putting it on
Well,
your
yeah,
mind.
I think it's all
and be
good
ready.
discussion.
Yeah.
Go downstream 3 months and see where it lays
Yeah.
out. The new members, does bike versus walk reps matter? I mean, you know, I can say yes and no, depending on what facts you want to bring up. So I think they let it play itself out for a little bit.
Sure.
I think in the last meeting, we talked about the Vision Zero plan. AJ brought it up, and it's something that was already on my mind, and I brought some literature for you guys to look at. So I'll pass that out too, so you can start. I should have just handed it this stuff.
Nah. Are we short?
Kind of gives, so there's other communities. I know Bentonville's working on a plan, and Omaha just announced a plan, and so there's other models. There's only about 40 communities across the entire country right now that are like certified Vision Zero. And it's essentially what it is just planning, just like a zero tolerance, trying to prevent fatalities and accidents before they ever happen. So I know I've been run over, Lori's been run over, AJ.
Not in Conway.
Okay.
So.
So-
Oh, wait, never mind. Yeah, in Conway.
Anyone here have anyone?
By car while on bike, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You been run over?
So any pedestrian incidents? Anyone have a pedestrian incident?
It happens.
It happens.
Yeah, so
Here it says we should think it hasn't happened.
That's a definitely good point.
Yeah.
For sure.
So you can take a look at that, and it just kind of is a little bit of a roadmap to help get started on implementing it, what it would look like. And then there's also some, should be some links and stuff in there. If you look at that page. And, I'm trying to see that last page. I thought there were some links. I can email you guys the links.
Pop up when
Yeah,
you're looking
there's,
at it.
yeah, I'll basically email this document to you too, and then there's a bunch of links in it that you can click on each one of those tabs, and it takes you and just do a little bit of homework between now. Obviously, we'll January be busy with, discussing changes, new board members and all that, but then we'll kind of, as we wind down that meeting, maybe start honing in on that. And then meanwhile, kind of behind the scenes, we can start looking at like bicycle master plan and stuff. So,
I always thought, I know this has been maybe a while back when that Officer Kerr was in, and this maybe kind of help some sort of implement, those,
yeah,
just knowing where those
yeah,
hot points, so we can maybe
yeah.
help.
He's no longer over that, and the new officer I've emailed and tried to get up to date data and haven't had any luck. So I'll try to do that again. Be nice to have the year end stuff. So
Just so you know kind of what areas need some attention. That kind of helps.
You see the new thing, Metro Planner?
The Greenway.
No.
That map with the dangerous.
map.
Yeah, we can
plan,
report
yeah.
this stuff.
Okay. I
Hasn't seen it. Didn't Felicia send the link?
She made
Yeah, the links went out, and then I shared it. I was trying to get everyone that I could to take that survey. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
it's a survey link out.
pretty, yeah.
Okay.
So it opens up like a little map and you can drop a pin on it and like a thumbs up, thumbs down, or light bulb to submit the
Yeah.
video.
I knew there was some
Yeah.
stuff going out talking about
I'll
that.
send it to you.
I appreciate that.
Pretty easy to use. It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I think Metro Plan's trying to go after like this safe action plan or something, something.
Yeah.
They got a lot of plans.
Yeah,
Like Arkansas Safe Streets,
Safe Streets.
or something like that.
That's
It was-
it.
it was a
Safe
pretty
Streets
good
for
site.
all. Yeah. I think it's been some great discussion.
I got a handout just for my little idea, if anyone wants to have it.
yeah.
I sent it to,
Yeah,
I think to Terry. This is that one I discussed earlier where you have the Markham Street.
Did you talked to Jimmy Chrysler, right?
Yeah, I talk to him all the time.
Have you seen his Green Streets map?
Carolyn, I'll send you one. I don't have it actually.
Oh, it's okay.
Thank you.
I didn't see it. I saw his green lane delineator. I didn't see it.
Yeah, the one he bolted down to the street. No, he's got a whole map drawn up for. Yeah, I'll let him tell you about it.
Yeah, because he said he was just getting ready to try to put the money down to start production. It looks like January before we get things going on it, but
And I know we've got some of the markers that you heat up and they'll adhere to the asphalt to start marking some of those routes that are on that route. I forget what Jeremy called that. I'll just call it safer streets. There was lower traffic connector streets or whatever, but I think we've got some blazes and stuff to start putting down on some of those. But I think the chamber actually invested in those. I need to see where we're at with that.
Yeah.
I know the lane delineators, I think, are ordered. I know they're just within the last week.
Any further discussion? I think.
You want us to just review this and so we
I
talk
just
about
look
it
at it
next
and see.
time?
It was
Okay.
just
Yeah,
an
just-
idea that was, I was looking at plans and I said, well, that was supposed to be done and there's the COVID thing. And with Markham almost being finished, it's like, let's just finish it up. So that's what I've been talking with Dr. Peterson and Hendricks, public safety guy, and he's kind of engaged now after the UCA deal on the crosswalks. No one wants to see that happening here. So lots of little things.
Yeah. So they have the tunnel there that goes under Mark Ryder.
Because on that form, it shows on the little black lines, I kind of did a little circle on it, where you got Markham Street coming up from the south. And the tunnel and the bridge are both marked back in the plan a long time ago. And then on the GIS map, but then it doesn't go anywhere. It identifies Ellis and Steel Avenue and then Sandridge going to Walmart, but there's no other plan that says just TBD at a
Yeah.
later time. And I thought, well, that's already in the plan. That should be a good starting point versus inventing something new. We'll just
Yeah.
see what happens.
I think that was a part of. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I think it's just a link to a map. But yeah, I mean, I just have skimmed over it, but yeah, I think it's a great idea to pick places to start that it makes sense and there's a need and the infrastructure, like the requirements are almost already done and it takes a little bit more, so.
Because one of the things that Jeremy Chrysler had, we have in the preserve, there's some pretty nice trails. But the one just kind of goes over and stops. You can't go anywhere unless if it's muddy, you really can't go anywhere. But it goes along it's the east-west fence line by the baseball and football
End
fields.
zone, Stephen Moore.
And so you look at, we're priced out a new bridge there and all that. And hopefully the chamber can work with this because part of our dues that the village pays for that upkeep at the preserve. It's like, if that thing connected, it'd be a much more useful trail.
You're talking through to Stephen
Well,
Morgan?
not through to Stephen Morgan. The college is really not real interested in that,
Yeah,
just because it fills up with cars all the time. It's the fence line that goes from
Underneath.
basically the interstate to the inflatable football field area.
Right.
And so it's a fence line and there's not really a path. There's a little path, but it's not really official.
Couple Creek crossings.
Yeah, there needs to be a bridge built there, and it's about $20K to build the bridge.
You're talking about where it dead ends into the chain link?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so then that would go, at the chain link, would go straight west and connect
I
with,
got you.
basically over to Steel Avenue right there, kind of by the swimming pool.
Okay, yeah, by where I don't know if it's like the physical plan or whatever.
Yeah,
Hendricks,
the
yeah.
maintenance yard's there.
Yeah.
So if you look at the map, it's pretty nice. But just connect it, finish it off.
Mhm.
So we're looking at that too.
We're talking about a pedestrian bridge, cycle bridge.
Well, it's a both, and people ride their bikes on it too.
Well,
It's
I guess
gravel.
okay,
Yeah, it's not a city park, but essentially it is.
okay.
It's Hendrick's property.
So you're saying they closed that off because people were parking over there?
Well, no, one of the things they want to do is make that, I guess would be Sanders Avenue, cut straight across to Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
And would cut through the parking area. So when they have big games and stuff, you'd have this road, and they said, no, we don't want a road right down the middle of all our, because there's too much pedestrians back and forth on those fields. And so they like the gravel.
Like you could just make the path smaller and put some bollards or something. I mean, it made me sad when they closed it off because it was a
Well,
really nice.
And, we're talking a road versus we're talking bike path.
Oh, yeah.
It might be much more amenable for the walk over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a walking bike path is a lot different deal. They were
Right.
talking specifically traffic.
I heard there was other reasons involved with that
Well,
decision, but
There was, encampments back in there. There was, a lot of things happening. PD gets in there all the time. And so if you had a path that continued, there'd be a lot more people. And those tents that are kind of hidden would be a little bit more difficult to, they would have pedestrians and activity there.
Get a little illumination out there.
Yeah.
Very productive. I appreciate you all. Anything else anyone has to add? Feel like we're heading in the right direction in the upcoming year.
Well, I guess, thank you for your service as the chair stepping in. So, since we won't see you in December, so.
I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas.
AJ, yeah, AJ, sorry. Just
How long, you've
realized
been
that
on
too.
this board for a long time.
2019, I think,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's a little while.
it's a long while, but yeah. You'll have made
Appreciate your service.
I appreciate you all being patient with me and not banning or throwing rocks at me.
I wouldn't go that far, man.
Yeah.
You're easy to get along with.
I try to be, all in all, I appreciate anybody want to make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.